Life has become terribly, terribly easy. Although this may sound like a dreary quote from some existentialist book, it's actually a quote from a guide on green housekeeping by Christina Strutt from Cabbages and Roses. In the beginning of the book, she describes life in the 21st century as lazier, more tired, more stressed, and more dependent. Part of this problem has been caused by a hectic society that uses the culture of hustling as a means of human development. The more you work and produce, the more value you bring to the world as a human being. This culture of hustling, the fascination with the corporate ladder, the micromanagement of tasks and chores, and the maximization of your time in order to do more and be more, are all things that have contributed to a certain regression in our human condition. Having managed a productivity channel for over 5 years, and having gone through college, a master's degree, and finding the job I was looking for, I have become more and more aware that living a fast-paced life can feel pretty meaningless, especially if you find yourself blindly working towards the enlargement of your collection of degrees, responsibilities, places you've traveled to, and the number in your bank account. My notion of productivity has drastically changed over time. Before, I had a tendency of looking at productivity as a very narrow scope of work that brought you closer to a certain milestone, forcing you to ignore everything else around you. In a way, I saw productivity in an industrial or business-like sense. The rate of output per unit of input. My understanding of productivity is now very different. Being productive is doing what is valuable to you or other people that are important to you, without losing the sense of the whole. The sense of the whole is the most difficult thing to achieve if you've been stuck in a productivity loop for far too long. Swapping a short and repetitive workout for a long walk in nature, for instance, is something that allows you to be productive without losing the sense of the whole. You're taking a walk, so you're making an effort to be active, but at the same time, you're aware of nature, and you're able to pinpoint the sounds and the movement of the creatures and the elements around you. You're more connected to yourself as your mind is able to wander and you're giving yourself freedom to think and reflect. This different, slower pacing, the steady and consistent rhythm of being more intentional and connected to yourself and what is truly important to you, are all characteristics of slow living. Slow living means different things for different people, but at its core is the deceleration of modern living. Slow living is not an antagonist to productive work. It works rather as a filter that allows you to improve the experience of doing enjoyable work and finding pleasure in simple, mundane things that would otherwise feel like time wasters to you. Drying your laundry in the drying rack instead of the tumble dryer. Growing your herbs on your windowsill or garden instead of buying them in packages. Cooking your own homemade meals instead of ordering takeout. They are all productive things that don't really maximize your time, as there are faster alternatives for them. But they can be far more enjoyable and bring other benefits to your health and the environment as well. After all, what is more productive? Growing your own flowers or buying them from the supermarket? One takes more time than the other for sure, but the nature of the task in itself may help you question whether your concept of productivity has been turned upside down by our current frantic world that values convenience above all. There is a beautiful simplicity in doing one easy thing at a time, like drinking a cup of coffee, walking to work, or doing the laundry. It needs to be mentioned that there are straight productivity benefits in a slow-paced present life. For instance, having a slow life may improve what author Chris Bailey calls scatter focus. Scatter focus is an attentional mode where we direct our attention inwards, allowing our mind to wander freely, which in turn improves creativity and gives us space and time to create connections and solve problems. Giving our mind the freedom to wander is as important as focusing on other tasks at hand. There are two sides of the same coin, and an overabundance of one over the other will not have the same impact in your creativity and productivity. Embracing a slower life in which you gather more insight and allow deeper reflection on what surrounds you boosts your productivity by giving you room to prioritize the right people, the right ideas, and the right projects. And slow, intentional living isn't just a theoretical ideal with difficult accomplishments. Gardening, for instance, is a practice that enhances slow living. Minimalism is also a lifestyle that removes distractions and unwanted noise from your life, allowing you to take more time and a slower pace to do the things you want. Slow living isn't only for people who live in cottages, artists, or people who practice meditation. It can be a lifestyle that anyone can incorporate step by step into a busy life, the workplace, any hobby, and family life. It can even be incorporated into your reading habits, your relationships, and the food you eat. So here are 3 general principles to start living slowly wherever you are in life. A full calendar has been a sign of being busy, and being busy is usually associated with being successful and ambitious. But being busy doesn't necessarily mean you're either of these things, and a full, overwhelming calendar just means you're risking burnout and a fast-paced life that will remove your attention from small, relevant things that you'll inevitably have to ignore because you simply don't have time to accommodate them. Make it a priority to reevaluate how you're spending your time regularly. Be merciless in cutting back activities that don't bring value to you, and be highly critical of how you're spending your time. Freeing your calendar means you're making time and space to rest your mind and engage in highly valuable reflection and thinking. Don't be afraid of being bored and embrace idleness as a booster of creativity and relaxation. The concept of connection has changed a lot over the years, and it has transformed a principle of connection with our community, our family, closest friends, and nature to a web of superficial acquaintances with people we've seen once or twice in our life, and people we idolize over social media. We are now connected to brands in order to consume more. We are connected to whatever's happening around the world through breaking news notifications. We become obsessed over the lives of people who are willing to share them online, instead of dedicating that attention to our own homes and families. The problem isn't being connected to these entities and these unknown or unfamiliar people, but rather the fact that we are focusing too much on them and forgetting the joy of real connections, real people, the environment around us, and the small moments in life. Also, don't forget to consume less in general. Consume less media, less images and sounds. Buy less and be more aware of the things you have and the environment around you. Avoid jumping from activity to activity and deepen your knowledge and your practice on the things you already do, instead of abandoning them in favor of novelty. Digest the movies you watch before you jump to the next title. Share the books you read and think about their messages before putting them away. Appreciate food, learn how to preserve it and how to cook it instead of falling into the trap of ordering every day. In general, be more mindful before purchasing and resist the impulse of going the easy route instead of a more fulfilling one. To simplify your life and have a more mindful approach to productivity, I suggest an easy-to-use and all-in-one tool that truly helps you manage your life intentionally. And for that, you can count on Notion, who is sponsoring today's video, to help you track and achieve your habits, as well as keeping reading lists, task management, goal-setting templates, learning, writing trackers, personal development pages, and so on. I use most, if not all of these spreads for my own individual planning, but I also share some of my pages with my video editor, as that allows us to keep a steady workflow that is very minimal and simple, and has all the information that matters nicely compiled into table formats. You can use and explore Notion anytime you want and for as long as you like, because their personal plan is literally free, without any word or block limit. It's a great investment to make for 2021, and it doesn't cost a cent. To start using Notion today, go and click the link provided in the description box to get your free account. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys!